Good luck, gentlemen. All right, so Knights of the Round. As I said, we chose Percival. He has the highest attack power, and he also has a dash move. You are going to see that dash move right away, right from the start of this race. Already, you can see that damaging attack power flying through these enemies. This is your typical beat 'em up. We're going to have groups of enemies that we need to take out throughout the run. Groups that are going to be blocking off our next section of moving on. And we're actually coming up on our first boss. This is Scorn. The strategies between these two is going to be a little different. But we should see... So basically the way Scorn works is you want to knock him down, and then you can see both players are just going to be knocking him around back and forth. You want to keep him down as long as you can. As soon as he gets up, they're going to try to use a power move to knock him down. And actually, I thought they were going to use different strategy, but I didn't see anything different really between them. So that was pretty standard for how Scorn goes. All right, on stage 2, I'm going to give you guys a heads up of some of the different moves that we're going to be seeing in this run. First of all, we're going to be seeing some dash attacks. You've already seen quite a few of those dash attacks. Basically, that's where you dash, you attack the enemies. You'll see this big arcing swing that has a pretty decent range. So that's kind of our long-range move in a game with no long-range attacks for the player. We also are going to be using a strong attack. You can see that main attack that they use. This is the power attack. It's the most common one. It's where he uses that big arcing axe swing. It does the most damage of any move that we have. And it also is quite quick. It's kind of not intuitive to use, though. You actually attack and then hit forward to use that move, so it's a little bit awkward. You also can see they're using this move to pull the enemies onto the screen. That is our special move, or the Mega Crush, if you want to be fancy. And what they're doing is that move basically pulls large groups of enemies. It hits a really wide range, does a decent amount of damage, and you can also see that they get quite a bit of iframes when you see them flashing at the end of that. And that gives us a little bit of safety, but it does also do a little bit of damage to us in the process as well. So not going to see that too much. Other than that, there is a jump attack that we might see at one point, and they do have a back attack where they're going to turn really quickly and attack the enemy behind them. It does a decent amount of damage, and it's a very quick attack. And then, of course, there's a regular combo, but we're not going to use that. That's slow. All right, so we're coming up on the second boss already. This is Branford. There's a quick kill for this boss. It's really awesome. I'm going to try to explain it super fast. Literally, they're going to hit him off the horse. They're going to get on the horse. They're going to hit him with the horse while on the horse, and then they're going to charge attack. And it looks like both Croonin... we didn't get the stab on Croonin's side. I know Spriven got through it. Oh, and Croonin was able to get the quick attack. A little bit slower because he slipped away from him. Slippery little Branford, but both of them got through it. Basically, the way that attack works is once you hit Branford with the horse while you're on the horse, then you can do a dash attack on him. It opens up all of his iframes. He becomes immediately, like, annihilated. And it's really awesome. Spriven figured that one out, and we have been going so much faster since. Yeah, I'm really happy both runners got through that. It might look like Spriven's got a pretty sizable lead right now. They're actually pretty neck and neck right now. That lead could come down quite a lot because there's a number of bosses that can really mess around with us. Speaking of enemies in the game, let's just take a moment to talk about some of the different enemies you're going to see. So you can see soldiers. They're kind of your typical foot soldiers on the screen. We then have these guys called Fat Man, who I feel horribly bad for because the producers, the makers of the game, just did not do them justice. And those guys they'll do a little bit more damage. They're a little tankier, but still pretty squishy. No pun intended. We've got these busters, which are the guys in the armor suits. Those guys take a whopping hit. They can also block you, which is rather annoying, but otherwise they're not much to deal with. You have the swordsmen. Those are the guys with the giant swords. They do a good amount of damage, but again, they're like a couple hits and they're down. The ones that we really look out for, you see these guys in the red, these are Skywalkers. Now, I promise you we did not just switch to a new game category or a new franchise. They're called Skywalkers, but not the same. These guys will be jumping around, and they basically can abuse iframes where you hit them, and they basically go, nope, not going to take it. Oh, we just saw our first death there with Spriven. Oof. That's a 4-second time loss for each death and 10 seconds for each continue. So we are hoping to not see very many of those in this run. So the Skywalkers can be a real pain because of the iframes. The Birdmen that you see, those are the taller guys in armored suits with kind of axe-like weapon. They do this jab attack that is super fast and has an insanely far range, way farther than it should be, in my opinion. And they also can block attacks and counter. We hate them. Get them off the screen. Kind of the same tactic for them as they used on Scorn, where you just want to knock them down, get behind them, knock them down again, not let them get up. And the same thing with the tall men. I know, so much creativeness in the naming. The tall men are exactly like Scorn. Same thing. They have a halberd, though. They will try to knock you down. Ooh, there's that 10-second time loss we're talking about. The good news is there are 9 credits that we get in this game. It is highly unlikely that either one of these guys is going to take a death, a full death, or a game over in this run. These guys are just pros. They are too good. Oh, man, and we are pretty darn neck and neck here. Just maybe a few seconds ahead. All right, so we're moving on to the second stage of this area. As you can see, we're just cleaning up groups of enemies. We're going to be coming up on the tiger enemies and also the first use of one of our orbs. You realize all those tigers just exploded on Spriven's screen. That is because there's an orb that we utilize that instantly kills all the enemies on the screen. We will be seeing a green one later, as well as more red ones that will... The green ones turn enemies to food, and the red ones just do exactly what that one did. I also want to give a shout out to the magicians. There are magicians in this game. However, their magic sucks, and the one odd thing about them is for some reason they grapple. I don't know who they trained with. I don't know any mages that get grappling moves, but they will throw you if you get too close. Luckily, both streamers got right by that. Both runners got by smoothly. We're going to dodge these barrels on Spriven's screen. And then basically at this point, we are just coming up on Arlon. Arlon's going to be our next boss. It's a couple groups of enemies that we kind of power through. You can kind of see in Spriven's case, he is doing what we call grouping. He's kind of stacking the enemies on top of each other. He's lining himself up in the best position between enemies, kind of setting it up so that they'll end up on top of each other and he can maximize his power attacks. You'll also notice that there's a lot of food items that drop from these enemies. The lower your health is, the more free food items the game gives you. So you'll see that both runners are keeping their health quite low, hoping to get those food drops as they go. It looks like we've only got about a segment between the two runners right now. It's going right well here. All right, we're coming up on Arlon on Spriven's stream. Arlon is a weaker version of the final boss. The strategy here, much like Scorn, we want to knock him down. A little bit different than Scorn, though. As he's getting up, he does this huge high jump, but he's susceptible to a power attack. So you're going to see this strong attack they're going to try to smash him with every time he jumps up in the air. And you can just keep staggering him repeatedly. And then as soon as he goes down, they're going to pop open that turkey. It's going to give him a little extra health. I think it's about like 30% more health if you break the food item open rather than just eating it. And that should get them both up to full health. All right, Croonin not far behind. He's just finishing up his Arlon fight here, using a couple dash attacks, and there we go. He decided to go right for the turkey, but that's okay. All right, we're coming up on Stage 4. Stage 4 is going to be the first instance of our level up item, and I'm a little curious here. There's some weird tech with this level up item. Spriven's explained it to me, but I still don't fully understand it, I'll be honest. So maybe Spriven can try it again next time. But basically, there's a level up in one of these barrels, and this item, the staff that falls, will give you a free level. It gives you all full health up. All right, he did end up going for it, so his health is completely filled. The thing is, apparently, if you die too many times in the end game, that level up there from that staff can do really odd things, where by the time you get to the end game, you will actually need double the amount of experience you would normally need to level up. And so sometimes some of the runners will skip that, although it looks like they both have grabbed it. Croonin also decided to get it as well. Taking out those barbarians quickly on Spriven's stream, and we are going on to Phantom, or Fandom, as I like to call him. He's pretty simple. He's a lot like the Skywalkers that you saw earlier. The difference is he's going to summon 2 more of himself that can damage you, but you can't damage them, or at least they don't damage the boss when you damage them. You can kill them. Mainly the goal here is we're just going to ignore them. We're going to try to focus on the actual boss and take him out. And as you can see, as long as you focus on the right guy, you know who he is. It is a quick fight. Spriven is already down. Croonin is just getting through the little cutscene there and taking on the copies, but already half health. This is going to be a really quick fight. Again, we are not anywhere near the end of this run. We are not. No one's got a big enough lead for this to be done. So we're actually coming up on the first skip of the run. These skips are really weird. No matter what we do, we have not figured out exactly how they work, but a dash move, Spriven's going to line up on this tree and he's going to dash. And then hopefully he's going to... Oh my god, he got the skip. I'm so happy to have seen one of those skips today. So he did get the skip. Normally a buster would be between those 3 barrels, but because he dashed just right and something happened that despawned those enemies, either loading too many sprites or just something else with those traps. We're going to see if Croonin gets it. All right, Croonin got the Buster, so you're actually going to be able to see on Croonin's screen what happens if you don't get the skip. It's about a 20-second time loss. He's going to get 2 Busters. He's going to get 2 Birdmen, as well as the Skywalkers that Spriven had to fight. And he might actually get 2 more enemies. I thought it was 6 enemies. But maybe I miscounted. That wouldn't be the first time. Ah, there we go. There's a Buster and another Skywalker coming in. So a couple extra enemies on Croonin's screen. Again, we don't fully know what causes those skips to work. It's just dashing in the right place for some reason gives us this ability to skip it's either a spawn there or there's something with overloading the screen with sprites. I know a lot of people have different thoughts on it, but honestly, guys, if somebody has their own opinion, please feel free to offer, because we would love if somebody would come in and tell us what we actually need to do there so that can be consistent for once. All right, cleaning up some Birdmen on Spriven's stream, and we're quickly going to be coming in on our Balbar's boss. Balbar's is actually a pretty simple boss. He's this big, tanky-looking guy, really tall guy in armor, swings a giant hammer. You'd think he'd be a lot tougher than he is, but unfortunately for him, he is very susceptible to our Mega Crush attack. He's going to take 2 hits to every time we use it, and we can follow up with a strong attack each time to just do massive damage. As well as his moves being fairly predictable, and these runners both being able to block with good consistency, I don't think we're going to see any issue from either runner on this. Spriven is coming in a little low on health, so that might be bad. He's not going to be able to use as many of his powers, as many of those Mega Crushes as he'd like. But getting those blocks in there, he's actually doing quite well here. It looks like he was able to take out that soldier that snuck in there on him, getting through pretty cleanly, and Balbar's is going down fast. He might be able to get through. You know what? I'm not going to finish that statement because I know of a thing called Commentator's Curse. Oh, Balbar, stop it. Oh, no! It looks like I still caused the curse. I'm so sorry, Spriven. He's gonna hate me for that. But there we go. So that's another 4-second loss there. But luckily, that gave him the health he needed to finish up the fight. Croonin's coming in looking in a little bit better shape for this. Just a little bit extra Mega Crush because he's got that health. So he might be able to smooth this one out. Looks like he did manage to catch up a little bit with Spriven just because of how tripped up Spriven got up at ending. Oh, wow. Really clean finish there, and that level up for full health. That was really nice. All right, we're coming up on skip number 2 on Spriven's screen. Also, there's those barbarians if you missed them before. Oh, they're gone already. I'm sorry about that. All right, skip number 2. Okay, Spriven did not get this skip. He ended up getting a Birdman on the screen. This means he's going to get 2 Birdmen and 2 Busters that spawn. Again, it's about another 10, 15, 20 seconds, somewhere in there, for missing that skip. So if Croonin gets this skip, we are going to be pretty neck and neck with these runners. All right, it looks like he also got the Birdman, so unfortunately no skip there for Croonin. But no worries, we are coming up against the trolliest of bosses very shortly, and it's going to be anyone's game with how that works out. Dude, Birdman and Tallman, they really are the worst, chat. They're so bad. I really despise them. They're definitely the Birdmen are my least favorites, just because they get those quick jabs. You can just see it there. Spriven getting a good block on that jab. Good prediction there. So again, you can see these guys, they're really trying to pull the enemies close together, trying to make sure that they maximize their enemies. You can see on Spriven's screen, they're going to be pulling them on. He's going to pull the enemies on with this Mega Crush, try to bring them as close together as possible so that he can just take them out with these strong attacks. Losing another 10 seconds there because that credit. Oof. Sorry about that, Spriven. Croonin also catching up on his heels. Oh, also taking a death, taking a 4-second time loss there, but able to make it back up. Luckily, they're getting towards the end of this screen. Just got to take out some of these groups of enemies. And it should be pretty smooth sailing for them to the next part of this stage. This is another one of those 2-part stages. All right, so we have these tall men. Here we get 2 of them. You can see this is probably the best example of stacking the enemies. They're going to get these guys right on top of each other, and then they can just repeatedly dodge behind them and just keep getting these power attacks. All right, so here's an example of an enemy skip that we actually know what's happening. Basically, Spriven is just going to try to run as hard as he can, far right, with his dashing, and he's going to basically despawn all 3 of those enemies, those 2 Busters, and he was able to despawn the Skywalker that can be a real pain. If you're a little too slow there, that Skywalker will catch up with you. You lose a lot of time. He used that orb to take out 3 of the Birdmen, killed off the last one. He's going to take out these Magicians, again, who hopefully they don't... getting them with one of their explosives. It's not too often you see those, but hard mode it's quite difficult to dodge those. Croonin just finishing up. He's going to be catching up with those dashes if you miss him on Croonin's screen, or on Spriven's stream just a moment ago. There you can see the green orbit work, killing off the enemies, turning them into food. Let's not talk about cannibalism. I'm a little concerned about that. But anyways, it works. Whatever it is. We're not going to worry. They're not actual people. They're just armor that moves on its own. Yeah, that's what it is. So here we've got a really good grouping happening on Spriven's stream. And again, we've got Croonin's now at the mages, so these guys are not too far behind. See that green getting that salad drop from those Skywalkers. Just going to clean that up nice and quick. Spriven is what I like to call the cutscene segment. We have this little tiger cutscene where these tigers run across the screen. To me, it's my moment to catch my breath, maybe say a quick little blessing, hoping that Muramasa is not a Mura massive dick, which he often is. So this is going to be the great equalizer in this run. It just depends on what happens here. Muramasa is a samurai. I don't know how a samurai slipped into this game. I don't remember him in any of the Arthur stories I read. But here he is, sure enough, the samurai. He is every bit the samurai you would expect. He can counter you. He can jump at you and do this quick sword swing that's almost impossible to dodge. If you attack at him, he'll jump at you and do that. Oh, there you can see getting in. Oh, good block. Good block from Spriven there, getting past that. He also, if you block him, he will sometimes run and dash around you back and forth. It's really hard to read it, but both these runners are really good at reading his movement to get an attack on him, which is quite awesome. You can also see now the segment that I really just don't understand in this game. He's going to jump in the air, fly for a moment, and rain fireballs down on them, because everybody remembers that from all of our favorite shonen movies and readings of all the raining fire from the samurais. But this is what he does. They're going to block him. It's not going to be a big issue, and they're going to be able to finish him off in that segment. So again, looking at health totals, we are almost neck and neck with how this fight has been going. Croonin has saved a lot of time on this Muramasa, and we are giving a lot of leg for Spriven to be caught up on. Spriven is letting him slip by just a little bit here. Still with a little bit of lead. Ooh, and Croonin taking a death there. It's going to cost him those 4 seconds. They both have a good amount of health here at the end. You want to finish off Muramasa with Mega Crushes if you can. Otherwise, he will do a counterattack that wastes a bunch of time. All right, Spriven finishing it up. Croonin really not far behind. He's got a good amount of health here. He's got a really good chance of being able to finish it up with those Mega Crushes. And we are going to bring this game to only a 15-20 second game. That is not a lot for these final stages. This final stage, the final boss, will have a lot to say in how this run plays out. So depending on how this goes for them, we'll just see what ends up happening here. We'll see who has got the faster late game, and we'll see who's got a faster Garibaldi. We'll talk more about Garibaldi in a moment. Just a couple of heads up. So there's these barrels on the left that you saw Spriven use there. He pulled the enemy's left so he didn't need to despawn those food barrels, and then he was able to go back and get those food barrels. Croonin, on the other hand, is feeling pretty good about his health. He doesn't really need that food. He's going to skip the salad. He's going to go right on, maybe get some main course a little bit later on here. Just cleaning up these groups of enemies. Again, health is really crucial here because you can pull these enemies on the screen, group them up, and then quickly take them out. Spriven's going on to the next segment of the end stage. There's a lot of different segments here, so it's going to be quite a lot of this. Spriven decided to knock those guys back so he doesn't have to deal with them, the tall man. That's probably a pretty good move. Getting those guys to despawn off the screen rather than fighting all 3 of these guys at once is a better way to go. Often if you pull them to the tall man, those soldiers, they will come up and get a backstab. All right, taking out that tall man, he's going to use a red orb that was hiding in that chest to take out another tall man and some busters. Then he's got the busters and the swordsmen to finish up here, and he's going to be going on the next segment. There is another despawn like there was on Muramasa's stage. Croonin did decide to bring those soldiers with him. It is a little faster if you just dash on with them and take them out while you take out the tall man. All right, so hopefully these barbarians cooperate, and Spriven can get them despawned. It looks like, yeah, he got all 3 of the barbarians that spawned there. He got all 3 of them to despawn, and was able to get through really cleanly. Ooh, really getting through those birdmen fast. There is a level up item in that top chest that he might grab. He might go for the full health, but you know what? He got to level up anyways. I think he'll take the free level up here because he can. He's going to deal with these tigers, taking them out while the other guy's not on the screen. He's going to grab the level up right before we go on to the next stage. Croonin, again, is on the busters, on that birdman. He's not too far behind. I would say maybe 2 groups of enemies behind. I'd give it 10, 15 seconds, maybe. All right, so now we come to the only trap stage of the game. There literally are just these traps on the ceiling. They actually have very big hitboxes, and you'll notice these busters are absolute jokes. For some reason, they are just filled with TNT, and they will explode the moment you hit them. So a lot of times they'll run into the trap, and it's amazing, and very enjoyable to not have to go into them. All right, so we're coming up. This is the Iron Golem. Very easy fight on Spriven's stream. Basically, you can get 2 power attacks in, and then dodge, block, or use your special, and then you can get 3 attacks in between each segment, following up. Oh, Croonin is a little bit behind now. It's going to be a little bit harder for him to catch up, but if he can play really well in the rest of these stages, the rest of these segments, he should be able to get caught up with him. Spriven on Spriven's screen, you can see he's on Phantom 2.0. Phantom 2.0 also spawns enemies. Unlike the first Phantom, when you defeat him, the battle does not end until you've defeated all the enemies that spawn with him. So it's actually better to take those enemies out as you take out the Phantom. And you can see that Spriven has already taken out his cohorts and is just finishing up with the Phantom. The Phantom, again, like all our Skywalkers, can use a lot of iframes to dodge and just continuously troll you. It's really obnoxious. We really, really despise him. All right, so Croonin is only behind by the Phantom fight at this point. Spriven is now in the last segment of the final stage. It is literally a rush of just about every single type of enemy we've seen thus far. No bosses, just the enemies. And then Garbage Baldy. Excuse me, Garibaldi, who is garbage. So we call him Garbage Baldy. The final boss. I will give you more on that final boss as we get a little closer to him. Ooh, Spriven taking a death. Taking a death, using a continue. Is this the lead that Croonin needed to catch up on this run? Oh, guys, we are close. We are very close. Croonin is now in the final stage. He is joining Spriven. They only have a few groups of enemies separating them. Literally one segment of enemies between them. All right, this is going to be very close to the finish. It is going to come down to Garibaldi in the final. Speaking of Garibaldi, yeah, exactly. Tinyu, you could not be more correct, guys. It is so true. This guy is the trolliest. He is basically Arlon, like 2.0, upgraded in every way with fire magic. Again, I don't know who he trained with. Clearly, Muramasa and he work with the same guy. He has these jump moves where he can jump, and when he lands, he shoots fireballs on all sides of him. And the really trolly thing is, if you're facing him and blocking, if he turns and faces the other direction just as he lands facing his butt towards you, his fireballs will attack you from your backside. And you will take damage. It is super annoying. He's a number of other trolly things, and we can't hit him when he gets up. However, there is one solace that we have recently discovered in the past few years of how to deal with him. You can see Spriven taking advantage of it right now. He is in his Garibaldi fight. If you stay on the very top pixels of the screen or the very bottom pixels of the screen, we have discovered that Garibaldi's top flames will not spawn as long as he stays on the same level as you. This means you can ignore the blocking. You can literally just continuously get the attacks and just continue to lay those attacks on him. Okay, Croonin is through all the enemies. He is in the Garibaldi fight. He is joining Spriven. We are literally a bar of health away from each other. It just depends on how quickly Garibaldi gets to the top of the screen or the bottom of the screen. Oh no, and Croonin taking a death, losing 4 seconds there. Only about half a bar of health left for Spriven. It is looking like this is going to be Spriven's game. He did just take a death. He lost 4 seconds. But we are going to need, at this point, a very trolly Garibaldi to finish this one off for our runners, to not let Spriven take the gold. And it is not looking like that's going to be the case. We are almost on time on Spriven's screen, and time on the final hit. Very nice job, Spriven. GG's in the chat for Spriven taking that gold. But I am not going to lie, guys. This was a close one. A 23, it looks like a 23-25 is what I'm seeing on Spriven's screen. A 23-25 is not a bad time at all. That is literally, we're talking like a minute and, 7 seconds away from the world record? With the amount of deaths and what happened, you can see that these are truly the top players in this game. Just to show you, here's that example of those pixels, those perfect pixels on the bottom of the screen that now Croonin has taken advantage of. Being able to hit Garibaldi, you can see he's being a little trippy, jumping off the screen, just really being a jerk. And that is time on Croonin's stream with a 24-11, both within a minute each other. That is a fantastic run. GG's in the chat for both of these runners. Now, I do want to give a quick shout out here at the end before these guys join me in the Discord server. I know they both unmuted, but I just want to point out that Percival wants that grail. He sees the cup. It is in front of him. Unfortunately, royalty is only gifted to those who make others do their work. So Arthur, who we have not seen, who has not done a damn thing in this run, is king, and he is going to take that crown and take that grail. And just like Spriven has taken